Welcome to the show. I'm Coach Ant.
I'm Coach T, and we're some fans that know some. Why do you think people ran and continue to run with hating on Bronny James?
Well, I think obviously if you don't really follow the path that you take with basketball, it's easy to say, okay, yeah, LeBron, got him that opportunity.
Yep.
And, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. But you don't get that opportunity without putting in your own work.
Absolutely.
And I try to remind people, you got to remember, like when you are a young athlete going through that process, and especially Bronny coming up in the era of social media, everyone has, cameras on their phone. He went through that AAU circuit, right, at a young age.
Yep.
That AAU circuit, and I'm very familiar with those top tournaments and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All these kids have cell phones, they're recording your every move. I do recall everything that was recorded on him, and when you catch him, people were impressed with how he played as a young prospect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you take it a couple steps further with ESPN. He's ranked in one of the top, 30 players, top 50 players, so forth and so on, continuously. And ESPN is going to do their ranking. High school numbers. He put up phenomenal high school numbers. He followed the path that, of course, LeBron James can help him get all of the resources to train. Putting him in the right, position to showcase his talent.
Yeah.
As a parent, that's what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
But your kid has to, take it and run with it. That's what Bronny James did. So when you look at the whole draft, when people are like, okay, he shouldn't have been drafted and things like that, I want people to look at this stat real quick.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Let's take a
look. All right. Now, if I go and if I look at Enrique Freeman, okay, probably don't know him.
Never heard of him. Who is Enrique Freeman?
No shade, and he's an NBA prospect, as you can see.
Yeah.
He was drafted in the second round, 50th pick. Now, Enrique is putting up 17.8 points a game, 24-year-old prospect, and he's splitting minutes between his main NBA team and a G League team.
Yeah.
If you are a basketball player, this is what you want. Unless you want to go further, you want to be, more guaranteed, things of that nature. But that's good for this young man.
Yeah.
To be, building up his profile to make it in the league, right?
Yeah.
So he's doing this thing in the G League. So let's look at what he's doing on his NBA team, right? So he's been, moved around quite a bit, but you can see his average is about 1.7 a game. Not really getting that many minutes, 7 minutes a game. But again, he's, a prospect. He was, second round pick.
Okay.
He's going through his journey.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at another prospect from the same draft.
What you got for us?
Okay. So Aton Watson, you look at his numbers, 1.2 points a game. Again, this is not shade. This is what you want as a prospect.
Right.
But these are guys that were drafted within the second round.
Okay.
Okay, so if we go to the next stat. All right, look at his G League numbers. He's averaging 12 points a game, 24 years old. Again, if I'm him, I'm in that process.
Yeah.
I'm happy that I'm still being given a shot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now let's go.
Bronny James, let's go.
Look at his G League numbers. 22.4 points a game. All right. Rebounds, 5. Assists, 5. Second round pick, 55th. LeBron can't and is not stepping on the court averaging 22 points a game in a G League.
Yep.
And the difference is, you look at Bronny is 19.
19 years old.
Those other prospects, a little bit older.
Yep.
So if I'm looking at the equity and investment of a player, I have someone that's younger that's doing more than the players that's in that same, path trying to make it to or become a more rotation, because all these guys are in the NBA.
Yeah.
But you want to build to become a rotation piece, right? I look at this, you take away the name.
Yeah.
He's on a quicker trajectory to do so.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to his numbers playing on an NBA stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2.3 points a game. He doesn't get that many minutes, but you can see and look at the times where he got the most minutes. The game, everyone is very familiar with. He got 30 minutes a game, 30 minutes that game, and put up 17 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. That's good number.
16 minutes and put up 5 points. So when you look at those stats, whether people like it or not, LeBron James is not jumping on his court doing that. And I just showed you there's prospects that were drafted in the same draft and drafted before him that is older than him, and they're not doing that.
That's good stuff. That's good information, man. So the naysayers out there, you've been given a holistic look at LeBron James and his ability. So we say to the haters, check the stats before you talk about it.
Check the stats.
Check the stats.
I'm
now,
just saying.
I want to play devil's advocate on that.
Okay. What you got?
For those critics that ran with the hate, when you look at his college versus those other kids, how did he measure up college stat wise?
No, that's a good question. So college wise, when you look at, we got to remember this kid came back from cardiac arrest.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
And thankfully with the staff, he was able to continue his career. So he wasn't able to jump right in and play. He got a slow start. And once he got back into the flow, his whole projection was different from those guys. They were putting up better numbers.
Yeah.
But I have to remind people, and you know this, when you are at that level of a prospect, people that evaluate pro talent, they can look beyond the numbers.
Yeah.
And part of it is your upbringing.
Yeah.
Part of it is like the resources, your background. And when you look at his athleticism off the roof,
off the charts. Yeah.
When they look at the sample size of what he was doing within the time frame and coming back, you see what he can do.
Yep.
And one of the most important things that people don't realize is here.
Yeah. IQ.
A lot of